2020 was a pretty bad year for existing, but we had a lot of stuff to do to fill the bottomless void that came with it. That includes video games, and I've gotta say,
apologies for the confusion.
It was pretty okay. In this video, I'm going to talk about some of my favorite games I played this year. No better time to start an annual series than with probably one of the worst years in the past century. Video games have helped me a lot during the pandemic, as it gives me something to do rather than just sit in my house and think about existential stuff. So on that note, let's get right into it. Number 10! No, I'm just kidding. I'm probably just going to talk about like 4 games. Let's start out with one I actually finished pretty recently. Persona 4. Golden. Over the past 2 years, I've grown to become a pretty big Persona fan, ever since I played 5 back in 2018. I've always been a fan of RPGs, dating back to when I played Pokemon Diamond on my DS when I was 5. Since then, I've experienced tons of different games from the genre, and I can firmly say that the Persona series has easily climbed to the top of my list. Besides 4, I also played Persona 5 Royale 2 times in a row, because I was an idiot and didn't do the Maruki Confidant all the way. It was just kind of boring, and I didn't think it'd be essential. That's a discussion for another time. Even though I really enjoyed P5R, 4 left more of an impact on me overall since it was my first actual playthrough. Just like Persona 5, I absolutely loved the battles, confidants, and story. While Persona 4 definitely wasn't as grandiose as 5, I honestly feel like it left more of an impact with the storytelling and characters. Uncovering a case of serial murders while balancing an average high school student's life is an incredibly fun dynamic that 4 takes full advantage of. Combat was fast and easy to understand, exposing enemies' weaknesses and trying to build up to all-out attacks was always fun. Although by the time I was halfway through the game, I ended up just speeding through dungeons in a single in-game day so I could spend more time with the confidants. Because when it comes down to it, it's honestly what I find best about any Persona game. I love the cast this time around, and the game is full of memorable moments that absolutely make it worth playing through. Also, it's on PC. Pretty much any computer can run this since it's essentially a PS2 game, and I totally recommend that you take a look if you haven't. Gold star. So you guys ever heard of Among Us? Okay, I know everybody on planet Earth has heard of this, but it's for good reason. Among Us defied expectations of games never becoming popular years after release, by busting onto the scene 2 years after it came out. Being able to essentially play out what happened in The Thing with your own friends, or random people if that's your style, has brought some of the most entertaining multiplayer experiences to date. Hunting out imposters with other crewmates or playing your next move as the imposter yourself, it's a loop that has a hard time becoming tiring. Online personalities have also taken full advantage of it, of course. And while it's pretty oversaturated, it can still be entertaining to come back to and watch every now and then. Not only were there a lot of notable releases for regular games this year, VR hit the big times when Valve finally resurrected itself from the ashes with HalfLife Alyx. And needless to say, it was impressive. After watching so many people play through this unique experience through YouTube, Twitch streams, and other stuff, I decided to try the next best thing since I didn't own a VR headset. The original games! Starting with Half-Life 1 but on Black Mesa, which is a full remake of the game in Half-Life 2's engine. Environments look stellar, and the actual gameplay? It's Half-Life. Something I feel Half-Life did that modern games still struggle to do properly is putting you in control of the character. Well, I mean, a little less literally. A lot of new AAA games, especially FPS games, hype up all these cool things that will happen within it, but proceed to hold your hand through the entire thing. You don't get to play the game because the game is already playing itself for you. But when you play Half-Life, the entire thing is just in-game. You're the one plowing through this research center and fighting the aliens to save your colleagues. You just blew up this helicopter in a fight that wasn't a QuickTime event. All this carries over into the sequel, but this time there's even more interesting lore and characters. My favorite was this pastor that kills alien zombies while quoting the Bible.
Farewell, brother. I fear I deliver you to a darker place. May the light of lights illuminate your path. Look to your own salvation.
It's really something. There is so much to be loved about Half-Life and even more to explore with lore and story. Of course, the hype for the third installment has been building up for literally 13 years, and with Valve essentially confirming it, all eyes are on them. I don't expect it to be the godsend of the game people have made it out to be, but from what Half-Life Alyx had to show, I think it'll still be very good. So Half-Life was obviously very awesome to play. But what if you took it and made it multiplayer, removed all the guns, aliens, interesting environments, and characters, and replaced it with guys fighting each other with swords? That's For Honor, baby! Woo! Let's go For Honor! I have a lot of strong feelings about this game, and they all go in many different directions. Lots of characters are unbalanced in several game modes, skill gaps can often be very large when matchmaking, and the learning curve can be steep with most characters. Despite all of that though, I always end up coming back to this game, for better or worse. Because at the core of it, this gameplay is incredibly fun and fleshed out. Figuring out new combos or landing a parry at just the right time is so satisfying. Getting executions after a well-fought battle between some random person online is gratifying, even though it isn't exactly so when you're on the receiving end. I spent a large chunk of 2020 just playing this with my friends.
Hey, don't res.
You captured Zone A.
Alright, hit respawn.
What the f?
Oh, Aiden! I always tended to stay away from difficult games because I never really enjoyed being pushed down over and over by Dark Souls or Bloodborne. But when I lose in For Honor and get bummed out, I always come back wanting to get better and play more. That's something a few games, especially multiplayer ones, have managed to do for me. And for that, I really like it. So that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed my top 4, but not really, because this isn't in any specific order. I played lots of other memorable games last year, but this was the stuff that stuck out in my head. So I hope you enjoyed me talking about them for a little bit. 2020 has been hard, and 2021 doesn't seem much better so far, but it seems like we're finally beginning to get out of the thick of it. It's kind of crazy to think we're living through one of the biggest historical landmarks in a long time, and I spent it all just sitting in my house playing video games. But hey, we're working through it, so stick out for a bit longer and go play a game that makes you happy. Thanks. Bada bing, bada boom, when I walk into the room. Bop!